Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. All right, so if you would turn to page the section, I think, Ahara Pacha, the condition.
Yes, page 310.
310.
10, yes. 15, nutriment.
All right. So nutriment.
And on page 319, you can read that.
Thank you. Let me share the screen. All right. So nutriment. Let's go to the definition. Here. Nutriment. Nutriment condition is a condition where a conditioning state relates to the conditioned state by producing them, maintaining them in existence, and supporting their growth and development. So those three are the requirements for it to be a nutritive or nutriment condition. This is compared to a prop which supports an old house and prevents it from collapsing. Thus, the essential function of nutriment is supporting or reinforcing Uttambana. Nutriment condition is twofold. Material nutriment, Rupa Ahara, and mental nutriment, Nama Ahara. Material nutriment is a nutritive essence found in edible food, which is a conditioning state for the physical body. Also remember, when we went through the Kalapas, we learned how in Ahara, how it sort of allows the physical Kalapas to multiply itself as the Aharas are put into the body, or the nutrition is introduced to the body. Remember? Right? Which was, right? We made a special point of it, isn't it, when we went over? So that, again, producing them, maintaining them in existence, and supporting their growth and development, right? Material nutriment is a nutritive essence found in edible food, which is a conditioning state for this physical body. When food is ingested, its nutritive essence produces new matter born of nutriment, and it also reinforces the material groups born of all four causes. Born of all four causes, keeping them strong and fresh so that they can continue to arise in succession. The internal nutriment contained in the material groups born of the four causes also serve as a condition by reinforcing the internal material phenomena coexisting with it in its own group and the material phenomena of other groups situated in the body. situated in the body. So, which goes on to say, when edible food is introduced to the body, the nutritive essence produces similar rupas based upon that ahara or oja, the nutrition, right? So that becomes the conditioning and the conditioned states, right? That becomes a condition and conditioned states. Mental nutriment is threefold. The nutriments contact, mental volition, and consciousness. Again, in what spirit is it called nutriment? Producing them, maintaining them, and supporting their growth and development. In that spirit, there is something called mental nutriment. What are those? The contact, phassa, chetana, and chitta. Right? Sparshya, chetana, and chitta. These are conditions for the connascent mental and material phenomena to arise. Right? Now let us go up to the chart. 15. Here we go. Material has oja and the internal two groups, the oja, the nutritive essence in food, and the internal nutritive essence, two. The first becomes the conditioning state for the arising of aharaja rupa, matter born of nutriment. Right? The second group, which is internal nutritive essence, which is because of the four causes, right? Because of the four causes, meaning kamma, chitta, uttu, ahara, right? Kamma, chitta, uttu, ahara. Here we are talking about oja, right? Here we are talking about the four causes. Matter of the same group, excluding nutritive essence, all matter of the other groups, right? All matter of the other groups. If it's kammaja, right? What are those, the essences, nutritive essence in the groups born of the four causes, right? Conditioned by that arises matter of that same group, excluding nutritive essence, all matter of the other groups. Then we have, is that clear, everyone? Yeah, the first one, oja, nutritive essence in the food. Right? Now, one might ask, why is there again? Now here it talks about the B, internal nutritive essence, talks about the four causes, kamma, chitta, uttu, ahara. Now ahara is found in this, isn't it? Ahara, it's a cause, right? And here we are talking about the nutritive essence in food, right? We, in this conditioning state, or as a conditioning state, what we are referring to is, one, in A, the nutritive essence found within the food that we consume, right? In B, what we are talking about or what we are relating to are the the causes. Kamma, chitta, uttu, ahara. The causes. Because of these causes, matter arises. Right? Internal nutritive essence in the four groups or the four causes. So within those four causes, right? Within those four causes, what are the nutritive essence which is placed within those four causes? Right? Matter of the same group, excluding nutritive essence, all matter of the other groups. Now, if we come down to mental, if we come down into the mental, we have contact, volition, and chitta. Here, the mental causes which gives way to the rising of whatever, based upon whatever data, or rather in this case, nutriment, which is derived through these conditioning states, right? Mano ahar. What feeds the mind? What keeps the mind going, right? Here, then we have sparsha, which takes those objects. Then we have the chetana and the chitta. Because of these arise their respective 89 chittas, 52 chesikas, and sahajata rupa with each nutriment. Owing to each one, contact, volition, and chitta, all sahajata rupas that arise in connection to sparsha, chetana, and consciousness. Is that clear? Yeah. With contact arises sahajata rupas, isn't it? Right? But leaving the sahajata rupas aside, because of contact or contact, chitta, and volition, these are, remember, we spoke about sort of the facets of consciousness. If one of these are missing, consciousness would not exist. If chetana is missing, consciousness would not exist, right? We cannot say that one part is more important than the other, right? These are like those facets. Although we have chitta, which is translated into consciousness, this sort of mental body, if we might put it in that way, exists supported by these three facets: contact, volition, and chitta itself, right? And chitta itself. It is because of the role that they play and the data which in turn is able to be sort of taken, which allows the rolling forward of the consciousness, that all these other groups of consciousness arise, right? There are all these other, for example, just imagine if volition does not exist within the mind of a being. If volition does not exist, with the knowledge that we have now, we would understand that we would not be able to sort of play out what we want to do, or there wouldn't even be something that we would want to do. Volition, right? So contact, volition, and chitta, conditioned by these three, arise the conditioned 89 chittas, their respective 52 chetasikas, and sahajata rupas of each nutriment, meaning of sahajata rupas of contact, volition, and chitta. Do you understand? Is that clear, everyone? Yeah. All right. Now, let us read what can you see now?
Read from Manual of Dhamma.
Can you see the Manual of Dhamma?
Yes, from Lady Seado's book we have been reading last time. I mean, when we were doing nutriment, we were doing that.
Yeah.
And if you're referring to that, it's in page 64 in my book, old book. Ahara Pachaya.
Hold on.
Bhante, it's nothing in the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now it is there.
Oh, it came now? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it came and disappeared.
Now?
Yeah,
Now
it is okay.
Now it's
Yeah,
correct.
now
That's the one.
Yeah.
Right. Now.
it would now. Thank you.
All right. So, ahara pacha. The relation of food is of two kinds, material and immaterial. Of these, material food connotes a nutritive essence, or what is called edible food, which is again subdivided into internal and external. All natural qualities born of the four causes. All natural qualities born of the four causes, pertaining to those creatures who live on edible food. All natural qualities born of the four causes, pertaining to those creatures who live on edible food, are here the Pacha Uppanna Dhammas related to the two kinds of material food. As to immaterial food, it is of three different kinds: contact, volitional activity of the mind, cetana, and consciousness. These kinds of immaterial food or Pacha Dhammas are causally related to the coexistent properties, both mental and material, are causally related to the coexistent properties, both mental and material, right? Because Mano Pubbhangama Dhamma, isn't it? So under Mano Pubbhangama Dhamma, mind and matter would both be classified. Right? The mind is a forerunner, right? But in a rupa, that will not be so, which are their corresponding Paccuppanna Dhammas. In what sense is ahara? In what sense is ahara? Let me just increase. In what sense is ahara? Sorry. Here. In what sense is ahara to be understood? Ahara too is to be understood in the sense of holding up strongly, which means causing to exist firmly. That is to say, a relating thing nourishes its related thing. A relating thing nourishes its related thing so as to enable it to endure long, to develop, to flourish, and to thrive by means of support, right? Again, that is to say, a relating thing nourishes its related thing so as to enable it to endure long, to develop, to flourish and to thrive by means of support. Though the causal relation of food possesses a producing power, the power of support is predominant here. The power of support is predominant here. Here, the two material foods are called ahara because they strongly hold up the group of internal material qualities born of the four causes by nourishing them so that they may exist firmly, endure long, and reach uncurtailed the bounds or limits of their lifetime, right? Of their lifetime. Contact is an ahara also because it holds up its coexistent things and enables them to stand firmly and endure long by nourishing them with the essence extracted from desirable and undesirable objects. From desirable and undesirable objects. Volitional activity of the mind. Here, before me, contact is an ahara, also because it holds up its coexistent things. Its coexistent things and enables them to stand firmly and endure long by nourishing them with the essence extracted from desirable and undesirable objects. There is an essence of here, when contact is established, when spasha is established, the spasha or the elements that are sort of taken, the objects, the desirable and undesirable objects that are extracted, for that moment in the process becomes in its own right and spirit and adipati in its process, right? Meaning, because it is wholly beholden, the mind is at that moment beholden to what is grasped through the sparsha, because it is through that sparsha that now the next moment's processes will now continue. Is that understood? Right? Hence, that will actually become much more clearer in Indriya Pacha, the next one, the 16th one, right? Hence, here we are speaking, you will see that we are speaking of a similar essence, but here we are speaking about that essence from the standpoint of ahara, right? Food for the mind, right? That is why it says, or that is in another way, what it is said here, contact as an ahara. Right? Volitional activity of the mind, or in a word, will, is an ahara, that it furnishes courage for the execution of deeds, words, and thoughts. It furnishes courage for the execution of deeds, words, and thoughts. And consciousness is an ahara also, inasmuch as it predominates in all thinking about an object, inasmuch as it predominates in all thinking about an object. There you go, right? It predominates inasmuch as it predominates in all thinking about an object. These three immaterial foods in supplying nourishment to coexistent mentals also affect coexistent materials, right? Coexistent mental, it affects the coexistent mentals, the 89 chittas, the 52 chetasikas, and the sahajata material phenomena, right? Ahara here may be explained after the Suttanta method. Just as birds ascertaining where their quarters are, flying with their wings to the air from tree to tree and from wood to wood, and pecks at fruit with their beaks, thus sustaining themselves through their whole life, so also beings with the 6 classes of consciousness, ascertaining objects with the 6 kinds of volitional activity of the mind, persevering to get something as an object, and with the 6 kinds of contact, making the essence of objects appear, either enjoy pleasure or suffer pain, or solely with the 6 classes of consciousness, comprehending objects, they avail themselves of forming or becoming body and mind, or solely with the contacts, making objects appear in order that feelings may be aroused through the same. They cultivate craving or committing various kinds of deeds through craving, accompanied by volitions. They migrate, so to speak, from existence to existence. Thus should be understood how extensive the functioning of the different foods is. Ahara Pache. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Now, we go on to faculty. Now, can we go on to faculty? Any questions?
Bhante,
Yes.
I have a small question regarding the food, the internal and the external. In the text you were reading, it says internal and external. External means all the edible foods. That means in terms of what is called Rupa Kalapa, it's purely external, means Ahara Rupa Kalapa. That's something you eat. And internal is the oja, component of all the Rupa Kalapas in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, it is. So
yeah,
that,
so,
yes. So
yeah.
here,
Yeah.
is that it, Damsare?
Yeah. So that's what I understand, that, yeah. Internal and external. Yeah.
Yes, that is why they refer to here as the internal nutritive essence.
Yeah.
Right? And in the first one, A, the nutritive essence in food.
Yeah. That means just outside, whatever food on your table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All that is then edible.
Edible,
right?
yes.
Because if we take, now what are the 4 causes, right? In all the 4 causes, we have nutritive essence within them.
Yes.
It is that nutritive essence that is referred to here.
Yeah.
In what spirit is it taken? It is taken in the spirit that the 3 words which were given, it produces, sustains, maintains, and sustains. Yeah. Maintains, produces, produces, supports, and maintains. And maintains. In that spirit, we take the external nutritive essence and the internal nutritive essence as well. External nutritive essence, everyone, A, nutritive essence in food. Yeah. We eat it, and once we do, as we ingest it, it turns this, based upon this edible food that we have just consumed, arises aharaja rupa. That is one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, once it has arisen, everyone, remember the kalapas, ahara, rupa, nutritive essence has the power to produce and multiply.
Yes.
That is what is spoken of in B. That is why we speak about it again.
Yeah.
Because again, that nutritive essence, being a foundation, arises more nutritive essence.
Yeah.
Based upon the nutritive essence that has now arisen out of not only one, they're not speaking about just one, all four causes.
Yes.
Right? Because that is the nature of nutrition. It has the ability to produce, multiply, and keep on supporting this complex. Yeah, that is B. So A, we are talking about the food that we ingest, eat.
Yeah.
B, we are talking about all phenomenon which arises, all nutritive essence which arises from the four causes. Based upon that nutritive essence of the four causes arises what? Matter of the same group, right? Excluding the nutritive, all matter of the other groups, meaning all the dhammas or all the materials that arise based upon that nutritive essence.
Yeah.
That is the nature of nutrition.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yeah. So in that, when you take the Kammaja Rupa Kalapa,
Yeah.
Take for example, Kammaja Rupa Kalapa. Then in the Kammaja Rupa Kalapa also, you have Oja in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. That again, there is Oja there.
Yeah.
Because of that Oja, that keeps on producing. Right.
Yeah.
That keeps on producing. Now, in the next one, prenascence. No, it's not prenascence. Oh, Conas. No. Sorry.
You're talking about
material life, right? Material life again relates to that same thing.
Yeah.
Where, for example, it arises, this what we call is Janaka karma. Why can't Buddhas be killed? Because of their strong Janaka karma, right? Why people who live out their lives in positions of high power, regardless of the strong negative karmas that they sort of accumulate throughout their lives, they are in positions of high power, which means or signals toward the existence of strong Janaka karma. So you would imagine, or you would see that usually these people do live out very long lives. That is because of past Janaka karma. And it would be very difficult to hinder this Janaka karma. Why? Because again, Janaka karma, it supports the life faculty. Based upon the life faculty, these ojas keep on continuing. The bodies keep on these ojas keep on producing and producing throughout their lifetime in a way that their life faculty is strong. Same thing as what we are speaking of as the oja, right? Which again, oja at the time of birth in a karmaja rupa cycle. In a karmaja rupa cycle, all these karmaja rupas that arise also has oja. It is because of that oja that because of that karma, now the nutritive essence keep on promoting life, physical life.
Yeah.
That's the power of oja, and that is what we are speaking about in 15.1b.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, everyone. Is that clear? Yeah. All right. Is 15.2 clear as well? Contact, volition, chitta, everyone?
Bhante, in nutriment mental, you mentioned contact or passa. So when you read a book, you contact you read it, and there's contact with the book. And can it be an example of that? Because it's food for the mind, whatever you read.
Absolutely.
Is it something like that?
And the quality of the food is also sort of then determined by the quality of the person. If you have weak eyesight, what you sort of cognize will also be weak, right? If you have weak eyesight, for example, the rupa that will arise can vary from Mahantarammana to Palittarammana. Depending on how weak your eyesight is, determines how strong or weak the object that you take through the eyes can be, right? So yes, you can take that. Again, also volition, how strongly determined you are to execute something would then sort of go into the perseverance that you would show in sort of playing something out. Yeah, so we can take that.
But I was talking about the quality, the what's in the book, like whether it's a Dhamma book or a crime book or romantic book. So what you read, does it affecting the mind? Like
does it affect mind?
When you mention the word food for the mind.
Yes, it can, because here contact, right? 8-9 chittas and 52 chetasikas. So it can affect the mind.
It can affect, yeah.
So because it is based upon these that the Javana processes also run.
Yes, yeah.
Right? If the Javana processes were excluded, then it won't affect the mind. But if the Javana processors are there, then it includes or it has an effect over the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bhante, when it is come to passa, it's the action of taking the contact or object.
The action
of taking the object.
The
right?
action of taking the object. Okay.
Object. So the passa is taking the object.
Okay.
But when it comes to what is the other one? Volition, then it's another stage of handling that object. Or volition, that means you like it or you go after it or that sort of action. So the passa is a mere contact of the object, right? And that actually that's the feeding stage of the object.
Yes.
Right. And then the in Sinhala in Pali volition is mano sanchetana. The mano sanchetana or the volition is actually what you are going to do, javanas, right? And then again, it's food for, it's sort of a kind of food for your continuation of thought process.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And then the vijnana is also, which is the chitta. Vijnana, it's in Pali, it's called, it's discussed as a vijnana. Vijnana is the continuation of the chitta.
Yes.
Yeah.
The vijnana, wait. Vijnana is a continuation of the chitta.
Yeah.
Vijnana is a continuation of, why did you bring that up, Damsare?
Because in the Pali books, this ahara classified as a, I'll explain to you the Pali terms. The nutrient materials is the kabalika ahara.
Okay.
And the mano ahara, which is the passa, mano sanchetana, and vijnana. But in the translation, the vijnana is here considered as a chitta.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think about the Pali explanation, then it's more elaborate.
Yeah, because vijnana, because if we try to also differentiate between the process of vijnana and process of jivitindriya.
No, jivitindriya, I think we are talking about the next, which is indriya pachya.
Yes, but yes, however, in the continuation of the mind, right? The continuation of the mind that falls into the faculty, that essence of that continuation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, so yes, vijnana, whilst vijnana is there, we should also not sort of, you know, it is not in the fact, if we focus upon the fact of continuation, then that sort of emphasizes upon a specific part of the vijnana rather than the whole vijnana on its own.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because the continuation process is one part of the vijnana, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the strength of the vijnana, that is also why a trihetuka puggala is the only puggala that can actually attain nibbana, because of the power that that puggala can muster because of the trihetuka pratisandhi.
Or trihetuka vijnana.
Or trihetuka vijnana.
Yeah.
Because of trihetuka vijnana.
Yeah,
the power that person can do.
Yeah.
When it comes to ekahetuka or dvihetuka, that power is considerably lesser. Right? Hence also the continuity. Even if now, obviously, even a ekahetuka puggala, in the vast cycle of rebirth and death, we cannot assume that even a ekahetuka puggala within this moment, within this respective moment in time, does not have a karma in the past, which is trihetuka. However, the faculties which are present at that moment, because of the ekahetuka or the dvihetuka shakti, the power, the force which is present at that specific moment in time, that will not allow the person to now facilitate the arising of those trihetuka karmas which the person has performed in the past. It is like, for example, you have a USB port and then you have a USB-C port. Yeah. So now both of these ports are made out of gold, metals, plastics, and all of these sort of different compositions, right? Now, that composition, the material composition, is like potential. It can potentially be anything. However, what is the Shakti that is present at that moment in time is either that it is a USB port or a USB-C port. Hence, only a USB cable or a USB-C cable can be entered into that specific port.
I think the audience is not familiar with the USB cable and USB-C cable.
I mean, does that make sense in the sense of vijnana? Everyone, I mean, any questions that you all have? Basically, in a nutshell, contact, volition, and chitta. If you take contact at one point of the whole mass of operations of this body and mind, there is a point where passa feeds us what we work with. Contact. At another point, if we say it drives the function of life at a specific point, there are other points like so where the function of life is driven by volition. And then vijnana as well, right? That is why, or that is what we refer to as mano ahara. Right? If you take it as, for example, fuel, right? If you take it as a sense of fuel, right? I mean, without fuel, the vehicles won't run, right? So at one point, this being, the mind, is run by either contact, phassa, rupa vedana, sanya, Chakku sota gahana jibha kaya, aramana, which arises through the sparsha, the contact that arises, right? And then we have volition. The volition to want, to do, which arises again, which then conditions the mind. And then we have moments where chitta, the vijnana itself, acts as a fuel, isn't it? Right? That is what we then take. For the material, rupa ahara, for the body, what is the fuel? Two types. One is a fuel that we directly eat. The second is the fuel inside because of chitta, because of, whatnot, right? It sort of creates energy within it, isn't it? Nutritive essence within it, right? So based on some sort of, but a dead body can't create nutritive essence. It is a living body that creates nutritive essence, right? So for example, let us say, you're caring for your grandchildren and you're dead tired, but then you suddenly see that one of your grandchildren is going towards some sort of danger. So, you forget your tiredness. All of a sudden you have this sort of jolt of energy and you sort of sprint through the house and you go and catch the fellow, right? Or you shout, or, you do something, right? Now you see, a dead body can't do that. It is a living body that does that, a living body. But where does that energy arise from? Chichada, kammaja, utuja, aharaja. Is that clear? Yeah. Now, is that clear, everyone? Yeah. So what we eat is 15.1a. What is inside, potential, created through the four causes, is 15.1b. Do you understand? Right? And then what fuels the mind at times is 15.2. Chetana, phassa, chetana, and vijnana. Is that clear? Right? So basically, this is all to say what fuels the mind and the body. Yeah?
Bhante.
Yes, Shani.
So that is why when you are meditating, at the phassa level is the way you stop it before it going to the volition.
No, you can't stop it. If you stop phassa, what happens is consciousness stops. Because phassa, chetana, and vijnana, they arise together. Right? They arise together. So you cannot stop one. What you do is, in the process, what you're talking about, I'm guessing, is Paticcasamuppada. Right? What you stop is the base of tanha and avidya taking or spinning that wheel. That is what we stop. Do you understand? Because if we stop sparsha, what would happen is an arahant would cease to be operational from the moment he attains to enlightenment. Like he would just be a vegetable. Right? But that doesn't happen. What happens is the influence or the delusionary pattern of avidya and tanha, those processes are the processes that stop. He can't stop. through awareness. Then etana thamai dharmanupassana venne. That is where the Dhammanupassana comes, because, for example, Dhatu Manasikara or Vedanaupassana, it arises. And then with Dhammanupassana, when we are good with the Vedanaupassana, with the Dhammanupassana, what do we see? We see the Panchupadanaskandha using the Vedanas that arise, and fueled by those Vedanas, how the Panchupadanaskandha works. In coming into a sense of awareness over the arising and the passing of the Vedana, we realize, okay, this is how the Dhammanupassana works, and through awareness, we stop that process happening.
That's right.
But that process is fueled by two things, avidya and tanha. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Still, the process still happens, but you are aware of it. That's all.
It has to happen. How else did the Buddha respond to the people who came to inquire from him about the Dhamma and everything else? Right? These interactions happen because of passa. Actually, not just passa, chetana, and vijnana. Without these three being operational, we cannot proceed in life.
Yes, understand. Yes, thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. All right. So, shall we? Any other questions, or can we move on to the next one? All right. Let's move on to the next one then, which is Indriya Pachaya. Indriya Pachaya, faculty condition.
Yes, but in page 320 in Abhidhamma.
Is a condition where a conditioning state relates to a conditioned state, where a conditioning state relates to a conditioned state by, this is the important part, by exercising control in a particular department or function. Now that's the important part, everyone, right? That is what a faculty is. A faculty is that which exercises control in a particular department or function. This condition is compared to a panel of ministers, each of whom have freedom of control in governing his particular region of the country and does not attempt to govern the other regions. As stated in the text, there are three types of faculty condition. 1, pre-nascence faculty. 2, material life faculty. And 3, connaissance faculty. In pre-nascence faculty, each of the 5 sensitivities arisen at a static phase of the past bhavanga chitta is a faculty condition for its respective type of sense consciousness along with its cetasikas. Again, pre-nascence. Remember what that word means, right? Pre-nascence, right? Each of the 5 sensitivities arisen at the static phase of the past bhavanga chitta. Remember that? Chitta vitiye, right? In a chakku, we had the example, we studied the example of the chakku dwara chitta viti. Remember when it started vibrating? Now it's talking about that. Is a faculty condition for its respective type of sense consciousness along with its cetasika. Do you get it? Right? This is so because a sensitive organ controls the efficiency of the consciousness that takes it as a base. Example, good eyes produce acute vision, while weak eyes result in poor vision. Good eyes produce acute vision, while weak eyes result in poor vision. Is that clear, everyone? Right? So what should be here? The conditioning has to be the 5 sensitivities, right? Right? 5 sensitivities. Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jibha, Kaya, right? Based upon that, its respective, then the chittas, the chetasikas, right? That arise along with it. This is so because a sensitive organ controls the efficiency of consciousness that takes it as a base. For example, good eyes produce acute vision and the weak eyes result in poor vision. Now, the second one, material life faculty. Material life faculty. The material life faculty in the material groups born of karma is a faculty condition, right? Material, rupa, jivita, indriya. In the material groups born of karma is a faculty condition for the other 9 material phenomena in the same group, for it controls them by maintaining their vitality. Jivita Indriya, what does Jivita Indriya do? It maintains, right? The third, the 15 immaterial faculties, meaning out of all the faculties, I think 22 faculties, right? Am I right? 22 faculties. You take all the immaterial, meaning the mano, right? Are each a connaissance faculty condition for the associated mental states and the connaissance material phenomena, right? And the material phenomena. Now, of the faculties, now this is where, modern gender studies will not agree with the Abhidhamma in this regard, right? The 2 sex faculties of femininity and masculinity do not become conditioning states in the faculty condition. They are excluded because they do not have the functions of a condition, because they are excluded because they do not have the conditions of, do not have the functions of a condition. A condition has 3 functions: producing, supporting, and maintaining. But the sex faculties do not execute any of these functions. The sex faculties do not execute any of these functions. Nevertheless, they are still classed as faculties because they control the sexual structure, appearance, character, and disposition of the body, so that the whole personality tends towards either femininity or masculinity. Right? Again, nevertheless, they are classed as faculties because they control the sexual structure, appearance, character, and disposition of the body, so that the whole personality tends to be either masculinity or femininity. That is the part where modern gender studies will not agree, right? The last part, right? Now, let us go up to the chart, which will make it infinitely more clear. Right, here we go, everyone. No, one more. Here, 16. Faculty, Indriya Pachaya. 1, prenascence. 1, prenascence. Now, what is pre-nascence? Pre-nascence mean that which conditions has arisen before, right? Now, here, the 5 material sensitivities are the conditioning states. Now, how does the conditioning states become pre-nascence? At the moment of presence. What is the moment of presence? When the mind awakens from the bhavanga, right? What time, at what position did the material sensitivity arrive or start affecting the mind or the process of the mind? It started affecting, or it arose at the time that the presence was in bhavanga, isn't it? But awareness over the object arose after. Hence, it is pre-nascence. Do you understand? Is that clear? Why? Because it takes at least one mind moment for the object to become mature, to mature enough, to give result, to have effect. Isn't it? Right? The impingement process started at the position of the bhavanga. Because of the bhavanga chalana, bhavanga upacheda, after the upacheda, the mind became aware of the object. But the object has arisen. That is why it is under pre-nascence faculty. Based upon that, those 5 material sensitivities that has arisen, what happens? Now, based upon those sensitivities or the respective sensitivity that has arisen at that time, arises the 10 sense consciousnesses respective and the 7 universal Chaitasikas. Their respective 7 universal Chaitasikas. Do you understand? Is that clear, everyone? Does that make sense? Right? 5 material sensitivities. Take chakku. Because of eye sensitivity, right, that has arisen, the respective sense consciousnesses will arise accompanied or together with the respective Chaitasikas or the universal Chaitasikas, the Sabbachita Sadharanas. All of that come into those consciousnesses. These, now through what type of chittas do these processes happen? It happens through ahetuka chittas. Right? And their respective Chaitasikas. Is that clear, everyone? Clear? Noeline? You've muted yourself again. Explain more. Why can't I hear you? Okay. Yes. Is it not clear?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So again, remember, just remind yourself of the Chittaviti process, right? In the Chittaviti process, now just imagine a scenario of sleeping. We are sleeping, right? We have deep sleep. And then unfortunately, it's 6 o'clock and the alarm goes off, right? And sometimes it takes us a little bit of time, isn't it? I mean, noticeably, it takes us a bit of time to realize that the alarm is going off sometimes, right? So in a situation like that, I mean, just taking this as an example, is the mind is in sleep, in deep sleep, and then all of a sudden this alarm sort of starts going off, but you don't realize, you know, that it's the alarm. Secondly, you think that it's part of the dream and you are wondering why this alarm is in the dream. And then you realize it's not a dream, that it is really coming from somewhere. You know, you have all these processes, right? But the alarm as an object has to arise somewhere. And that arises, and that somewhere is before the mind is truly aware of what it is. Isn't it? That is where the bhavanga now starts shaking. Chalana. Right? When the chalana matures, now the bhavanga can't maintain itself. Then the upacheda. Now starts a process of the chittaviti, which interacts with this object now, because it has woken up from the bhavanga. Right? Now, that is why we would call the 5 of these material sensitivities would be pre-nascence. Because from the moment that we become present and aware of the object, I am seeing something, but the object arises before I am actually aware of it. Because that is, the object created the disruption of the bhavanga before I was aware of it, or what the object is, isn't it? Is that clear? That is why it is pre-nascence. It has arisen before the mind is fully aware of the object. Now, you might question, because you might not entirely remember what we did in the Chittaviti chapter. Okay, so the mind does not know. Yes, the mind does not know that the object has arisen, because the object itself would take one mind moment for it to become mature enough to make itself clear to the mind. That is why it is pre-nascence. Is that clear? Is that a bit more clearer? Yeah.
We can't hear, Bhante.
Huh? Can't hear me?
We can hear you, but...
Is it all right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Bhante, when the alarm goes, you're on vibrational bhavanga. Is that right?
You're in bhavanga.
Not whatever vibration.
So when the alarm goes off, right now, when the alarm goes off, right, you're sleeping. Whilst you're sleeping without the alarm, you're in bhavanga.
Yeah.
The alarm goes on, and the sort of the sense impingement happens, or this, that is chalana. Right? And when it has matured upacheda, that's when the bhavanga is disrupted, and now starts the process of mind. Yeah. But from the moment of presence, we come into a position of awareness where now things can be conditioned, right? Things will be conditioned. Now, based on the alarm, right now, let us say it's a sound, right? It's a sound. You've forgotten to silence your phone, right? So you are now unsure whether, when you hear the alarm, you know, okay, you've got to get up now. When you hear a phone call, you're like, who's calling me at this time? Right? For what reason am I getting a call this early in the morning? Right? Now you see, for that, now it's a sound. The sound arose, but it is when you know the sound that your reaction is confirmed. the knowing of the sound is formed at the moment of presence of mind. Do you understand?
Is that the 5-door adverting then? After Bhavanga?
That, okay. So is that the 5 sense door adverting? The moment, so the Bhavanga, okay. Interesting question. Now, when the Chalana and the Upacheda has happened, right? Now we know, remember in the Chittavidhi chapter it said, just with one minuscule amount of data, that is not enough for us to truly understand what this object is, even if it is a person, right? Sometimes, you know, so for example, it says that the Buddha can sort of realize what the object is through five Chittavidhis. For us, it takes between 6 to 8, right? Now, for the sake of example, we might say that, okay, we wake up from the alarm at this point when the Bhavanga Chalana or the Upacheda happens and the mind is now taking the object. But remember that process of taking the sort of the, or really realizing whether it is the alarm or the phone, whether it's an alarm or the phone call or a phone call, would also take a process on its own, probably 5 to 7, right? So some sort of awareness or some sort of perceival of data happens or starts happening from the Panchadwara Avajana. Because now the mind knows, okay, there is data to be taken, and then sort of it gravitates towards that specific door. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Right? Not rather gravitates. The consciousness arises at that door. Mukhadde. You know, what am I hearing? Right? The mind starts arising at that respective door and then starts taking more. Now you realize it's an alarm, or whether it's a phone call, or maybe you have different tones for different people. Maybe you have a shrill for someone that you don't really like, and you realize, my God, it's a shrill. Why is this shrill happening at this time in the morning? Right? All of that. That does not happen at the moment of Bhavanga. That happens later on. But where did the initial, this object arise? It arose at the state of Bhavanga, before the moment of presence. Is that understood now?
Yeah.
That is why it is pre-nascence.
Bhante, can I ask something, please?
Yes, dear, you can.
Okay, thank you.
You're vibrating through the Zoom though. What is happening?
No, it's because I was on the iPad and it's losing its charge. Something's wrong. So I changed to the to my iMac, and so there's an echo, but I knocked off the iPad. So okay, I'm all right now. So Bhante, when you were explaining about Purve Jata, right, the pre-nascence, what you're trying to explain now.
Yeah.
Am I right, Bhante?
Yeah.
Am I right, Bhante? Right.
Yes.
So, but you were explaining to Noeline that, you know, why it's before is because there is, you know, you started talking about the Bhavanga Chalana and the Upacheda. So before it becomes the 5-door adverting, by the time where the perception starts, because it takes a while before it becomes perceivable. And because these things, but at impingement, it's at Bhavanga. But you missed out the Atita Bhavanga. Was that because normally it's Bhavanga, Atita Bhavanga, then it's Bhavana Chalana Bhavanga, and then it's Bhavanga Upacheda. Yeah. So I wondered why you left out the Atita Bhavanga. Whether that's the...
Well, no, I didn't really, I mean, yes, I didn't mention.
I can't hear, Bhante. Sorry.
Atita Bhavanga.
Hello.
Something's gone wrong. I've lost now.
Testing. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear, Bhante.
Yes, we can hear.
Let's wait a minute, Bhante. I'll try something else. Wait. Oh, I've got to put this off, I think. Okay, can you speak now, Bhante?
Testing.
I
You had to say Bhavanga, Bhavanga.
Something's gone wrong with me.
Atita Bhavanga. No?
Wait, now I can hear. Okay, Bhante. Right.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, I didn't mention the word Atita Bhavanga,
right,
but it is because Atita Bhavanga, Bhavanga Chalana, Bhavanga Upacheda are all Bhavangas. So simply, you know, but
That's
okay, Bhavanga, Atita Bhavanga, Bhavanga Chalana, Bhavanga Upacheda. So literally, actually, it is only the commentaries.
Yes.
That we kind of find this sort of classification into the three, Atita, Chalana, and Upacheda, only to sort of symbolify the inference of the object, right? But yes, Atita Bhavanga is also there.
So what you also explain is that the Buddha have only about 5 chittas for the chitta viti process, but for us it takes about 6 to 8. So that's why you're saying that at the point of impingement, when it's Bhavanga and whatever Atita and those 3, but for us to actually start perceiving, you have to have about 4 or 5 of those, or 5 to 8 of those. So by the time it becomes the Fido adverting or the Panchadwara.
Yes.
So that's why it's pre-nasal. That's why it's Purvajata.
Yes.
Right.
Because it arises before the moment of presence.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And that moment of presence will be somewhere near the Fido adverting or near the near that avajjana process by the time you start perceiving.
Yes. I mean, the moment of presence or the presence of mind can be taken from the moment the mind is, you know, kind of like alert about the data, but surely not at a moment of Bhavanga.
Right. Thank you, Bhante.
Right? Because the state of Bhavanga does not do anything.
Right.
Yeah. So we cannot take it as a state of presence. Yeah. All right. So
thank you, sir.
Bhante, another question. Bhante, when you have Bhavanga, you have in the deep sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So when you get Aramana or object, and at the point of Atita Bhavanga, you break the deep sleep and come to normal sleep, probably. Right? Because you are no more in the deep sleep.
Yeah.
You hear the voice, but you are not bothered. It's just disturbing your sleep. So
in deep sleep?
From deep sleep. So at that moment, it's you have come to the REM sleep.
Yeah,
we call it actually. So the Bhavanga Chalana is you switch over to REM sleep, and then you continue, and then mind opening is actually the waking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the moment of deep sleep that we sort of talk about, I mean, deep sleep can be, you sleep literally like a dead body.
Yes, that's right.
You know,
it's non-REM sleep, no eye movements.
Yeah.
Eyelid or eye movements.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you don't know what is.
Yeah.
You're off. You're absolutely like in deep sleep. So
yes,
thank you, everyone. Do we have? Oh no, we don't have time. Oh no, we can go into the second. Now, can we go into the second part? Is that clear, everyone? Yeah. Okay. Material life. The second one, 15.2. Material life faculty at rebirth and during existence. Now, the material life faculty, the Jivita Indriya, right? The Jivita Indriya, my gosh, Shriyani, that yawn. It is recorded. No, that is fine. It is a hot day today. Now, the material life faculty. At rebirth is, what happens is, material life faculty, the Jivita Indriya, at the moment of rebirth, when this arises, now again, this life faculty helps in the continuity of the rest of the life, right? Material life faculty at rebirth and during, so Jivita Indriya, because of Jivita Indriya as a faculty controlling, dominating, arises the 9 karma-born matters and its connascent life faculty. Each element of phenomenon at that specific time, each phenomenon would bring about, create, right, or have the arising of life faculty as they arise. Each part of the 9 karma-born matters would have the life faculty, and that maintains the life. So we are talking about that Jivita Indriya that arises at the moment of rebirth and during existence. Because of this arises more Kammaja Rupas based upon this, because Kammaja Rupas would arise because, for example, the birth is there. Now, as a being in samsara, I would have karmas, which are 3 hetuka, but I would also have karmas to be a yakka, a preta, a tirachana, a deva, a brahmana as well, of the past, right? But again, like the USB and the USB-C, right? Those karma, for example, let us say tirachana karmas, right, as janaka karmas, will not be able to arise now. Why? The body is suiting to a specific type of karmas, isn't it? Yeah. Now, that is what is mentioned here. Material life faculty at rebirth and during existence. Because of that arises, now because of this body arises human kammaja rupas, isn't it? Because of those human kammaja rupas, there is life faculty. This life faculty dominates, maintains, and continues this human body. Isn't it? Is that clear then? Right? That's clear, right? Because of the Jivita Indriya, at rebirth and during exit, because sometimes the Janaka karma, we know there are the Upagataka karmas that damages and destroys and, you know, all of these things, isn't it? Right? But if the Janaka karma is strong and it is taken continues, right, nothing can come up or damage it. For example, if your Janaka karma is that strong, right? That is why that life faculty would arise in conjunction with the karmaja rupas that arise. Not to say that these are the only karmas that you have. No, you have a whole store of karmas. However, with this specific position, with these specific supporting factors, these are the life faculty types that can arise at this moment. Do you understand? And that dominates the process of life. That dominates the process of life. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Any questions, anyone? Okay. Can we move on to connaissance? Yes, Noeline.
Oh, sorry. I thought you stopped and I wanted to ask you something else. Tomorrow there's no 7 o'clock meditation then, starting 9.
No.
You have to think.
Yeah, I was thinking whether shall I finish this first and answer that? So no meditation. But let us finish this, right?
Let's finish this, Bhante.
Okay. So, connaissance 3. Now, connaissance here is what are the faculties of mind which arises together, the indriyas that arises together, right? Arises together. Here we have the 8 mental faculties: jivita indriya, chitta, vedana, shraddha, virya, energy is virya, sati, ekagata, and prajna, right? These indriyas, the mano indriyas, the immaterial indriyas, right? Because of these indriyas arise, right? Meaning, now what is the main point here? That they dominate their respective department or faculty. That's the main point here. When prajna indriya comes to the forefront, the whole series of the mind following will be dominated by prajna. When virya comes to the forefront, virya will start dominating, right? Hence, dominated by the life, chitta, feeling, faith, energy, mindfulness, one-pointedness, wisdom, arises 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, and material sahajata with the faculties, without faculties. With faculties, right? With faculties. 89 chittas, 52 chesikas, and material connaissance, sahajata rupas with the faculties, right? With the faculties. So dominated, when the mind is dominated, or when these specific indriyas come to play, right? Dependent on not dependent, but dominated by these faculties, these indriyas, right, arises 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, and material sahajata with the faculties. That's also clear, isn't it? Right? That's also clear, right? Now, is any questions?
Bhante, so both in the material, in the life faculty and in the connaissance faculty, both are with the life faculty, isn't it?
Both are with
the life faculty. So,
well, life faculties, they are even in, for example, this what do you say, connaissance.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In the connaissance, the sahajata one, and in the material life faculty, both in the number 16, 2, and 3, at the end, when you looked at the conditioned states, all of them, right? The first one will have the 9 kamaja rupa, but the other one will have the 89 chitta, but both of them end up with W. So they both have, they will have the life faculties. Both are with the life faculty.
Yeah, both will have the life faculty, because without life faculty, the continuation will not happen, no?
Right, okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Bhante, can you check that, please? When it comes to material life, the conditioned one is 9 karma born material conscious connaissance. I think it should be without life faculty.
I think, yeah, because life faculty,
because you can't repeat the life faculty.
Exactly. I think it's without as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Chamari.
Yes, Bhante.
Chamari, what is your word, Chamari?
Bhante, there are 2 life faculties. So one is material, one is mental. That is the difference here. because it's in the 8 mental faculties. There's the mental life faculty, which they are not going into because of the space. And 16.2 is material life faculty.
Okay. Well, 16.2 is material life faculty. And
number 3 is mental life faculty.
Okay.
So the question is whether both of them are with or whether one is then without. That was the question. That's what I asked. Because Bhante once said with and once he said without, and I wasn't sure. That's my question. So if you look at that 16 faculty, one is the Purvajata pre-nascence, but the second one is the material life, the Jivitindriya, and that ends when you look at the condition. It says W and life faculty. So normally we would think it's with the life.
Yeah, and it is with.
Yeah. So then the number 3 is a connaissance faculty, which when you go to the condition, that also says W.
Yeah.
Faculty. So that's also with. That was my question to Bhante, because when Bhante first explained, he said the first one was with, without, then he corrected and said it was with, and I wasn't quite sure. So that's why I asked Bhante, are they both with? So you're now saying that both are with. Is that right, Chamari?
My understanding is that, and until the number 3 is a connaissance one.
Yes.
It's if it is out of the 8 mental faculties, if it is, let's say, for example, energy, viriya, then it is the material that is born out of viriya.
Yes.
So viriya in the mind will have connaissant materiality.
Yes.
So it is that with faculties there, 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, materiality connaissant with faculties, it depends on which one in that moment is the
predominant one.
Dominant one. So if it is faith, due to saddha in the mind, you will also have material.
Yeah. So depending on whether it's a life or with a chitta, feeling, saddha, faith, any one of those, but it will always be with the faculty. And in the same
that is one of the 8 faculties there. That's what it means.
Yes. That's right. So thank you, Bhante. So thank you, Bhante, and thank you. So they're both
Bhante, Bhante, I think we may have to check that one. I have a book here. In that book, it says that material life, then condition 1 is without life faculty. And of course, when it comes to connaissance, because it has got 8 faculties separate, so excluding the one which is predominant.
Yeah.
I think we'll discuss it next time.
Let's check that. Let me check that and come back.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's check that and come back next week. Okay. All right, everyone. So I think we are up for today, and I will see you all tomorrow for at 9 o'clock for the meditation. You can join the morning session or the evening session, or you can join both if you can make it. It's up to you. On Wednesday, the sutra class, I was wondering whether we can do the sutra class a little bit earlier, if that is okay, because I have to go for an event in the evening and I can't sort of do it. So the recording will be there. So is it okay if we do the sutra class?
How early? Because I rescheduled the program. So I don't know how I don't know whether I can do it again, because I rescheduled so that I'll be free at that time. But how early?
Wait, what do you mean on Wednesday?
Yes.
For Wednesday?
Yes.
Well, how early? Well, it really depends. I can do what time even in the morning, if it is possible?
No, that will exclude people who are working. No, Bhante, normally we do it at 7. So when you say you want to do it earlier, what are you suggesting so that
So the people who are working won't be able to make it for that class then on that day, and they will have to check out the recording for sure.
Do you mean like 6:30 or earlier than that? Because I may be able to. I had planned to come by.
So it will have to be. We will have to finish the class by 6 o'clock if it is happening. But
I won't be able to come, Bhante. Then now I can't reschedule. I freed myself to be there from 7 to whatever time. But if you're the main person who's teaching us, so if you have to start earlier, because I've arranged some people to come who have come from abroad to take them out, so I won't be able to change again. They're here only till the end of the week.
So then listen to the recording.
We'll have to listen to I'll have to listen to the recording.
So okay, maybe sorry.
I'm fine with whatever time, Bhante.
Well, very sorry, but I'll just make it like maybe we'll discuss it maybe on the chat group then, even if it is 4 o'clock, if that is fine by everyone, or maybe even in the morning hours.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, the Sutra class.
Yeah.
Is morning hours okay, or even like midday, 1 o'clock?
Anytime is good for me. Or whatever.
What about the others?
Bhante, I won't be able to do Bhante because I've arranged to take the people down the Thames and to Greenwich and to the planetarium.
Yes, still, you might have to listen to the recording.
On the recording. Sadly, because I said I had to come back by 7, which they agreed. But this is something different. So anyway, Bhante, I'm really sorry. But
probably shall we fix it for 4 o'clock then?
4 o'clock? Is 4 o'clock okay with some of you? Yeah, okay, then 4 o'clock. Okay, all right. Okay. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Good night.